Alright, so welcome to the first stream. Hello everybody, I am Alex, and what we're going to be doing today is we're going to continue with this medieval asset pack that I've been working on for a while. I actually had a lot of work done on this. I was about, I'd say, 60% complete with it. However, my hard drive decided to fucking kill itself. So, I lost a lot of that work because I was stupid enough not to back it up. But, here I am again, and I'm gonna be doing all this stuff again. So, what I've done so far is these models, which are basically... Well, the idea behind this asset pack is a medieval medieval tavern environment. So I want it to be fairly realistic. I'm actually been looking into a lot of stuff that is commonly used in fantasy games and environments, but didn't really exist back in the 14th, 15th century. Sorry, 12th, 13th century. Especially the metal banding around barrels and stuff. It's a very common one that a lot of games use because, well, if you think of a game barrel or a medieval barrel, well, it has the metal bandings around it, and that actually didn't come in until the 19th century. Before that, they used either rope, which was again less common, but more commonly straps of thin wood. And if I pull up a picture actually of my old asset pack, which I lost, let me just try and pull it up on the stream screen. Yeah, that will do. Okay, here it is. So yeah, as you can see that around the banding, it is wood rather than metal. And yeah, so this is the asset pack that we'll be trying to, well, recreate because I've essentially lost it. So this much we have done already. What we're going to be doing today, however, is working on some cutlery. And cutlery is going to be something like this sort of stuff. Let me try and get a better picture of the... Oh, there's cat hair in my... Okay, let me get a better picture of the cutlery. Yeah, this will do. Alright. So that's the cutlery that we'll be trying to recreate today. All these will be put onto a 2K single map, and we will be texturing it in Substance Painter. All the modeling will be done in Maya, both low poly and high poly, and hopefully you guys will be able to learn a few things because I'm not a pro. I'm a student. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So this is as much of a learning process for me as it is for you guys, and if anyone's in the chat who knows a lot more than I do, then please correct me if I'm doing something wrong or if I'm doing something very inefficiently. That would be actually really helpful if you could comment on how I should be doing it, or if there's any other methods that you know of. So, without me talking any more shit, let's actually just jump right into it. Let me just see. Stream. Is the stream working? That is the question. Yes, and we have a total of 0 people watching. Great, I love it. At least I'm on my own and I don't have to be stressed about people. I actually hate the sound of my own voice. I know that everyone does, but I just get really nervous about it. I don't know what to say or what to talk. Hello, cat. Oh, please. Just don't rub your head against the microphone. Alright, I'm trying to work here, so move along swiftly. Thank you. Right, so let's just get back into it. Save that. No, we don't want it. And here we are back in Maya. So I'm just gonna pull up some references here of the works and stuff. Okay. Some of these models are actually not quite up to scale. What I'm going to be doing is getting them into Unity. Oh yeah, by the way, my workflow is aimed towards Unity, but it's fairly easy to export textures from Painter to UE4. So it really doesn't change all that much. However, I am working with some Unity 5 metallic roughness specific channels in Substance Painter. I don't know if we'll actually get to texturing in this stream. I would like to. I'm expecting the stream to be fairly long unless I get too exhausted or bored. And I would love to do some texturing, but I'll see if we have to do it on the next one. But for now, I'm just gonna start with the modeling. So we got 3 spoons, 3 knives, and 2 forks, which we might make into 3 forks. There's no point, probably. Yeah, there's no point. Alright, so let's see here. Oh yeah, I was saying about the scaling that some of these bowls are not quite to scale. They look fine here in the viewport, but I'm not sure how well they will actually scale once I bring them into VR. So I'm gonna be using the Oculus Rift CV1 to scale them inside Unity to the right sizes. So yeah, let's actually start modeling. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna start with a square because I want some clean topology, and to make these spoons, I'm going to smooth this twice. Yes, something like that. That seems about right. Actually, no. I'm gonna only smooth it once. Because, let's see, just scale down. What? Really? What's happening here? There we go. Okay. If I smooth once, is that smooth enough? Maybe. Actually, I will smooth it once. Never mind. I'm gonna delete this edge loop. Don't really need it. Just to kind of optimize a little bit. This is going to be our low res. Yeah, that's enough. Some of these models are actually quite high poly for game assets. Depending on what you're developing for, obviously for VR, these are quite high poly for VR. But firstly, I'm trying to build a nice looking environment that's it's just pretty. I'm looking for high quality renders basically, and if I can, I will try and reduce and optimize from these high quality models to possibly run a VR scene if I can. But that's not the end goal. The end goal is good looking environment. So my poly count is relatively high. As you can see, it's not crazy, but it definitely could be more optimized. But yeah, I just want all these edges to look real smooth. I'm using normals and stuff, but I don't want to see any jagged edges. I want that nice crisp curve there. That'd be great. And because of that, all of my shit is going to be, well, relatively high poly. Not too crazy, but it's definitely not the lowest that I could get away with. So 3 spoons. One is long and thin. So let's try something like that. And middle one, some soft select. Let's just pinch these two edges. It's a bit too much. That's about right. Let's see. These are a little bit too far apart. The entire row. That's about right. That seems about right. Oh, it's really bright now. It was nice and overcast, but now there's a massive streak along my window, so that's also reflected on the screen. That's great. I love it. Fantastic. Okay, let's get some depth into the spoon. Not like that. Is this too? Let's come back here and check it. Scale these up and bring it back just a little bit. Don't want it to be that deep. Yeah, that looks about right. Maybe a little bit wider, could be. Okay, that seems fine. So what we're gonna do now is come back here, grab these edges, and I'm actually not quite sure what I should be doing here. See, these are very thin. Try and bring out these to that. That. Go into edge select. Squeeze them. What's the right way for that? Something should be right. That and that. It's true. Oh, forgot edge select on. Let's see. Oh, we got 2 people watching. That's more than nothing. Yay! Fantastic. Thank you. Okay. How long do we want this? Something like that, maybe? A bit too long, maybe. So let's go back to references. Sorry about that. The references are actually on my other screen, so you guys aren't going to be able to see these. They're only for my eyes only. Let's just go back and add some edge loops here. And just a little bit of decoration. Something like that. These guys, let's extend these guys along the edge. Yep, that looks about right. Let's just select this and these and these and apply. I think I need to add one more here. And instead, I'm gonna pull this up. In fact, actually, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do that afterward. So there's one spoon. Next one is a big one. That's a big old wide spoon right there. Let's give it some more interesting shape. Break it up a little bit. Just pinch the end. It's got a big old plate there. And actually, let's duplicate this guy over and something like that, so it's not so uniform. Okay. Okay, with this guy, we can... I'm not too sure about these. I'm not too sure how to handle this part of it, so I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. Can I even do? And there isn't a lot of pinching. I'm still worried about pinching though. I don't really want that to get too bad. This guy, I can just grab these two and just scale them in, I guess. And extrude. Let's see how long we want this. Something much shorter, much shorter. Something like that. Yeah, that will do. Alright, so for this one, what I'm gonna do is shrink this part of it. And that. And here we're gonna add a bulge. Why the hell not? Yeah. Looks alright. Sorry, I just had to cool. What the hell? Oh, okay. Sorry, I just had to reply to a message on Facebook. Nice. So, that's the second spoon done. Let's go back to the third one. It's going to be just a long, thin spoon. A cheap ass. Cheap spoon. Let's go like that. And like that. So how about that? That seems alright. It's not too bad. Okay. So now we just have to add some depth to these guys as well. So let's try this. No, it's way too little. Oh boy! Oh boy! I did not realize. I should have done the bowling before of this. Now it's just gonna be awkward. Let's it's fine, we can still work with it. I have to bring this up, bring it down a little bit. This up. So now it's a pretty deep spoon. Yeah. This is gonna be also made out of wood, so there's no problems here. What's going on here? Oh, I need to do Sorry I'm not that entertaining, guys. I usually work in absolute silence or with some music. So I don't really know how to entertain chat or anyone who's watching other than just kind of slowly, quietly, mumblingly explain what I'm doing and the process of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, or, well, more exactly why I'm doing it. So yeah, if you like that and you want to stick around, then be my guest. If not, then please do let me know on what I could do to actually improve this. If you want me to talk about something very specific, if you want me to go into more depth, if you want me to stop mumbling so much and actually explain what I'm doing, then that too, that'd be very helpful. Let's see, I'm just gonna... I don't want this one to be that deep. Maybe a little bit more. Back, side view. And yeah, that seems about right. Yeah. Alright, so let's use the align tool to snap it back. I just like to keep them all nice and organized. You don't have to do that, you could be modeling away, but I just like to keep them all fairly clean. What am I going to do with this? I do want it to be nice and thin, but I don't want... What I could do, I suppose, is just target weld these to that. I mean, when it gets smoothed, it's gonna be fine. Let's do an edge. Alright, that's fine. That'll do. Alright, and now let's see if the plan I had will actually work. Because it worked for the plates and the bowls, but I don't know how well it will work for a spoon. Let's just bring out this. About that much. Yep, that seems about right. Let's just grab all the faces, reverse the normals, and we deselect these guys, reselect that. Oh, not that guy. Oh, not that guy either. This guy. And get rid of that corner. Let's see if we can turn him more into a round shape. I forgot to add some edge loops there. It's a little bit extreme on, bit extreme, maybe something like that. Let's try these guys. That loop. And just squeeze them a little bit more. Actually, I don't think we need to. What we do need to, however, do is come back here and add something like this to it. Yep, that seems to be fine. What I'm gonna do is, however, grab this from there and Just squeeze it up a little bit. And that, bring it out, make it all real pointy. Nice. Okay. There is a spoon. See if we do need that. Do we need that? Hi, Polly. I don't think we do. No, no, we do not. We really do not. Might actually bring this bowl down a little bit. So it's Shift dot if you're on Windows to increase your selection. By the way, guys, if you're just starting out with Maya, definitely learn the shortcuts. That kind of goes for any software, but definitely learn the shortcuts. I didn't for ages. I just stuck with the buttons because I knew where they were, and I ended up just always defaulting to the buttons because I just out of laziness, I suppose. So don't be like me. Don't be lazy. Those shortcuts will help you a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. Let's just see. Increase the scale of that a tiny bit. That's... I mean, could even... just a little bit. How's this? Yeah, that will work. Maybe add one loop there just to kind of pinch that so it's nice and tight around the corner. Do we even need that? Don't even know if we do. Yeah, we actually kind of do. It's good with it. Alright, here we go. That's one spoon done. Here's the big one. Probably do. Yeah. Is that too deep? Ah, that'll do. It's a big spoon. It's a big spoon for big boys. What does that one look like? That one just kind of streams out like that. Let's see. There we go. It's looking good. Okay, that's a little bit extreme. I'm just gonna bevel this because I know that I'm gonna bump into problems when I'm subdividing. Maybe 2 is too much, maybe 1 is enough. So let's see when we smooth it. Yeah, that's pretty smooth. Could actually bring this back up a little bit. Do we even need to? Not really. Don't even need to do that actually. Maybe this guy a little bit be scaled. Just to give that neck a tiny bit more support, but without edge select off, obviously. So yeah, here we go. Let's go back. Grab all the edges, smoothen the ever-living fuck out of it. Grab all the faces and do an extrude. Extrude underneath. Don't want to lose that similarity between the different spoons. If I extrude underneath, then I'm gonna extrude underneath on all of them. This one I want to make a little bit thicker than the other ones because this is going to be the wooden one. There's going to be 2 versions for each of them. There's going to be a dark metal, just a cheap common metal texture, and a wooden one. And the other ones will be bone handle on the knives and silver on the actual metal on all of them. So this is going to be the wooden one. I want this to be a little bit thicker. Let's just grab all these faces. Oh, no, not those. What? No, go away. No! Okay, Jesus. There. Okay, reverse. Cool. Let's see. Yep, that'll do there. Deselect that, deselect that. Get rid of that, get rid of that. Just slowly start venting it. Do side view actually. Oh boy, there's a lot of stuff in that scene, so what I could do is I could move these guys or I could isolate them, but I think if I move them it's easier than isolating all the time. It's actually, you know what, I'm gonna look up the shortcut to isolate in my, because again, I forgot. Okay, this guy's on Mac. Oh! Oh shit! We have 3 people watching, and there's actual people in the chat. Would look kinda nice if you just brought the other end down the same height. Would look kind of nice if you just brought the other end down to the same height. Spoons kind of curve sometimes anyway, right? I'm sorry, Keen. I missed your chats. I didn't have the live stream up. I had the references open, which I'm actually gonna change right now. I'm gonna change the references down to the Cintiq, so I can actually keep an eye on the live chat. Alright, and fucking this just closed, crashed. No, it didn't. It's fine. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was looking up the shortcut for the tutorial. What am I talking about? I'm just rambling now at this stage. Don't really know what to talk about, so I started rambling. Say words that don't have to do anything with anything at all. Toggle isolate. God, Google, just give me what I want. No, I don't want the script. I hope I don't have to use a script. Maya hotkey isolate. What? No. There we go, isolate selection, Maya. Hope it is that. Very surprised it's so hard to find the hotkey. Preferences, settings, hotkey editor. I really don't want to change the hotkey. God damn it. I just want to find out what the hotkey is for isolate. There we go. Holy gosh. Be the one. Be the one that's actually helpful. For isolate, select control 1. Okay, let's test that. That works. Okay, perfect. That's actually really handy to know. Spoons. I wonder what Keen was talking about in live chat, because spoons are curved a bit, I guess. I would probably do that at the end though. I can just bend them down rather than right now. But I should probably look at that. That's good call. Good call. Let me see. And here, squeeze these a little bit. Squeeze these. And that. That's wide enough. Is it? I feel like it isn't. I'm gonna try something on a duplicate. I'm gonna see if I can get a more round edge if I merge these two. Merge. Merge. And merge. All these. Again, this is one of those things where if you actually have a much better way of doing it, please let me know, because this is very inefficient. And I I just fucked it. Okay, it's not any smoother, so it doesn't matter. It's I mean, this is fine, right? This is fine. It'll do. Maybe what we could do is bring this up a little bit. Bring these two up at least to the same level. Oh boy. I'm gonna raise it. Whoops. Getting really anal about this, but I would rather have it nice than go back and spend ages trying to fix something that I broke. So, just gonna spend a little bit of extra time on this, getting a good contour. Something like that. Oh, that. Yeah, let's see. Pick that up a little bit as well. Yep, sure. Why not? see. Get some. Less curve, less curve. You can argue with me that real spoons have real curves, but I would disagree. I think a nice big fat spoon is just perfect. What am I even talking about? Here, it's done. We'll just call it a day. It's done. Add those edge loops. Just kind of tighten the corners. Yeah, that will do. And for this one, just look like that. I don't want to make this too thin at the end, but I also want this to look kind of nice and squared or rounded off. I guess I could try and just extend it like that. Yeah, that will do. That will do. Yeah, sure. Alright, enough with these. Select the faces. Extrude down. Maybe not that. In with that one. No. Excuse me. I'm not gonna put any loops around the bottom of this one because I kind of want to keep this nice and sharp. I think this is a cheap spoon, so I'm gonna keep it cheap looking. Oh, forgot to go back to live chat. Oh, okay, Camilla just commented that that was way earlier. Okay, fair enough. I will try and look into that spoon curving thing anyway. Let's extend this. I don't want it to be that extended. Something like this. See, the problem is that I do want that top bit to be nice and sharp, but I also don't want it to be too... Do I need it to be sharp though? That's the question. I actually probably don't, especially the bottom. Let's see that surface. Yep, that's fine. That'll be fine. Let's see what the smooth is like. There's a lot of curve in that. Yep, that'll do. That'll do. Alright, so I have my spoons here. These are the smooth versions. What I can do is duplicate them down. For the low poly, subdivide once. And the high poly, which I'm going to subdivide. Whoa, what's happened there? Which I'm going to subdivide 3 times. Not just that guy, I want all of them. Maybe one more. Bit of an overkill, but I will be baking a substance painter from these, so might as well. Better. Let's get rid of some of these extra loops that we don't really need, just to optimize. Don't need that. I kind of want that. Want to keep that. Still see it. These, yeah, that's fine. What about these? There's a lot of loops there. No, I definitely don't need that. No, I definitely don't need that because you're not gonna see it. You know that I don't need that. I do need all of these, but I could keep the mesh clean. Or what I could do is merge some of these so that there's less vertices. Now, again, this is a cost versus benefit. Fuck it, just for the sake of it. I'm gonna do it. This is how I usually optimize my shit. Taking away what, like 3 vertices at a time, converting it into 1. So let's see. Yeah, it's a lot less anyway, that's for sure. These as well, might as well. No reason why not to. Well, it's a lot less. So these guys? These guys? Yes, it is. Again, I do feel like these are quite high poly for a spoon. I could probably get away with a lot less polys and just baking normals, but I really just don't want any of those jagged edges. Especially if it's in VR, if I manage to somehow make this, well, playable in terms of frame rate, it'd be nice to have, you know, a smooth edge that I can look at, like put it up to my face and it still looks smooth, rather than having it in front of my face and it just looking, well, really, I don't know how to describe it, jagged. Same with these. I could try and optimize. Oh, no, not like that. Not like that at all. I could try and optimize this way. And then get rid of either the middle one. Not really. Or these ones. Which is fine. I guess that would work. But I'm a little bit worried about the textures and how that might affect it. So I'm actually just gonna keep it like that. I just don't care enough, to be frank. Yeah, let's see what the poly count on these are actually. 1,000 triangles, 516 faces. I know I obsess a lot about poly count. I probably shouldn't, because modern engines can handle a lot of polys. But I mean, yeah, that's passable. It's nothing too crazy. A jagged there, just around that area. But it's fine. It's fine. Nobody's gonna see it. It's just me getting really anal about it. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And get rid of that. Can I get rid of that? Does it still look okay? Yeah, it still looks okay. And with these, it looks fine to me. What I will do, however, is on the high poly of this one, I'm actually going to add a little bit of detail. I'm going to create an alternative version, which I'm going to subdivide for once, so I get my poly. And then from here, I'm gonna bevel these guys and add 1. Grab the sides. I could do this in Painter. But while I'm here, I might as well just add it to it. So let's see how these line up. Let's smooth it again. Let's line. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, Thank you. Thanks, Camilla. Yeah, okay, I don't really want to get stuck here and spend way too much time on this stupid fucking spoon, so I'm gonna actually go with this one, because why not? So I'm gonna swap out this version to that version, because there I did have a little bit more extra detail on that guy, which I feel would be lost, and if there's any more detail that I want to add to this one, I'm just gonna add it with normals in Substance Painter. But I do want that little bit of bump in it. I feel that it would serve it well. However, for the low poly, I will get rid of these supporting edge loops. These guys here. I will delete these. That one there is enough. Okay, so let's swap him out. Alignment is still important, as always, because I want to be able to just rename all of these assets and bake them in Painter. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I'll delete that. The other one doesn't need anything to be deleted. Go back. Align. What does the smooth preview look like? I want to sharpen it a little bit, or maybe add some sort of like a groove here. I might actually add a groove. It's a little bit too sharp. Let me just turn on my anti-aliasing and ambient occlusion, and if I go into render viewport 2.0, crank up this AO. Let's just crank the absolute fuck out of it. Really want to see what we're doing here. Okay. Let's just go to 16. Whoa, that's that's a lot of AO. It's It's quite a bit of AO right there. Maybe a little bit too much. I was only looking at that poor little hole. Well, maybe my radius. I'm just gonna bring that back to 16. Okay, there. Actually, I don't like it. I don't like this. Oh no! I don't have infinite undo! Bollocks! Is this... Am I fucked? Am I fucked? I think I might be. As long as these align properly, I have no problem with it. The only issue I might have is if this doesn't work out now. So soften edge. Shit, which one is it now? This is the low poly. Yeah, it's fine. It's actually fine. This is my high poly. Will do. Alright, so let's just combine, separate all of these to debug it, and let's get some proper alignments happening. That to that, and turn back on my so I can see how much I subdivide it. Or is it? Is this too much? Same density? It's the same density. Okay, so there's our spoons. They're all finished, I think. Yep, they are finished. So let's hit a control save and move on to the forks, because I want to leave the knives for the last. I probably will end up spending the most time on those. Okay, so next one, forks. How do I make a fork? Medieval fork. Start off with a square. Into a long tube. Something like that. Send. No, actually, let's not do that. What we could do, however, is split it in the middle and have 2 bits coming out of it. Let me just bring up this reference again and zoom in a little bit. Okay, so grab that and grab that. Extrude, keep the faces off. Shrink a little bit. And then, actually, fuck this. I'm gonna start off by making 1/2 and then just mirroring over the other side. I think that's probably the easiest way to do it. Yeah, I think that's definitely the easiest way to do it, so I don't actually need this at all. Just gonna do that. Do I even need to delete it? I don't think I need to delete it just yet. What I'm gonna do, however, is come over here. Make a point. I'll point to this to be. Yeah. Oh, it's a bit too pointy. Okay, that doesn't need to be that pointy. Yeah, that's about right. Okay, for the bend in the fork, I could just model it sideways, or I could just move up the vertices and do that, but what I'm going to try and do here is actually create a lettuce for this piece. I go into deform, go into lettuce. That's too much, so let's just change it just there. What? Oh, this one. Let's crank it up. Something like that. Okay. So, let's go back here. Grab some of these. And it like that. Okay, never mind, we're not using a lettuce and we're not using all these subdivisions. It's probably not smooth enough for it to justify it. So I'm actually gonna just undo all this bullshit here. What I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna go into my settings. Here's my preferences. I should know where my preferences are. Oh yeah, other windows. Undo. There we go. I'm blind. Infinite. Infinite undo. That would be fantastic. Now we have infinite undos, and now if I fuck up, I can just escape my mistake. I might actually make 3 forks. I quite like this shape. I actually really like this shape. This is a good shape. This is a good fork shape. I like this fork shape. It's something. Half. So delete that. All that. No. Before we delete that, I'm duplicate this over. Duplicate it 3 times actually. First, we're gonna keep this one like that. Let's try that. Mirror off. There. Okay. Do we want any mergers? See, that's what I kind of want. That's smooth. There we go. That's looking pretty spicy. There's the 80. So if I just snap these together and do something along the lines of, let's see, let's come. Let's do a snap. Separate them out. That's nice. That's nice. Now I can combine them and space these a bit. Oh shit, I just kicked my monitor and the thing went off. Goddamn these shitty sockets. Okay. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a 5-minute break. I'm gonna go downstairs, make myself a cup of tea because I'm getting a little bit tired and I'm getting also very quiet. Which is probably not a good thing if I'm live streaming, because otherwise you're just sitting there watching a quiet stream of, well, 3D modeling. It's not that fun, especially when I get so finicky and just experimental with something. So I'm gonna be back in 5 minutes with a coffee and a cigarette. Well, Alright, and we are back. So, I've got a cigarette and I've got more energy. So, gonna get right back into it. Nope, don't save this. Get rid of that. And let's see this experimental fork here. This one isn't actually one of the ones that I've done. But while I was downstairs, I was actually debating myself whether or not to put in 3 forks or only 2 forks. And I think it would be better to do only 2 forks, because then I'm not losing so much textile density. I want those knives to really show through the wood grain. So what I'm gonna do is maybe do this fancy one and do a less fancy, more standard looking one. I mean, fancy, it's not exactly fancy, but I kind of like this curve on it rather than these guys. See, I was gonna do this big kind of V-shaped one, but I'm gonna go for the more U-shaped one and this round edges one. So I swear to God, one day I'm gonna definitely dox myself. Well, there isn't much to be doxed anyway, but I'm definitely gonna like leave my fucking stream key on one of the screens or something. I'm dreading the day. I'm dreading the day already. Anyway, so that's gonna be a slight change to the asset pack that I've done. All right. I kind of like this, but this is gonna be hard because I'm gonna have to have 2 different pieces for it, and the low poly is gonna be 1 piece. So it's not just gonna be a simple subdivide. I will actually have to remodel it to some degree. Hard to model with what head? So I'm just gonna finish this fag. And for any American viewers, if anyone else is watching this outside of Ireland or England, the UK, fags are cigarettes. I'm not calling anyone a fag in case you get triggered. If you get triggered, then so be it. I really don't give a shit. We call them fags here. Just like crisp, chips, whatever the fuck, whatever suits you, go for it. Anyway, so I'm gonna keep this one. I kind of like this. It's gonna be like a big. This is gonna be the bigger one. No, actually, this is gonna be the smaller one. Yeah, I'll keep this as the smaller one. I do want to kind of enlarge the end of it, though. It seems a little bit thin for me. Something like that. The whole neck just seems a little bit weak. Nope, that's too much. Let's go back here. Okay, I can, but then I have to. How's this? Oh, yeah. I think I can actually just grab all of it like that and shrink it back. Yeah. That seems about right. The only thing I'm worried about now is if I smooth it, that's not going to be enough definition there. It does give that nice smoothness, but I don't want to be subdividing this 2 or 3. Well, I actually can. I can subdivide this 2 or 3 times. That's not that big of an issue, because if I subdivide it again, I can just delete the extra loops from there. However, I don't want to be deleting too much. Let's see if I subdivide it one more time. Okay, there's quite a bit of stuff that I have to get rid of there. Oh, I just saved it, but that's a good thing. Let's go back. What? There, fix it. I actually don't need to. I can probably just get away with these 2 models, and I'm just gonna UV them both, and it's gonna be easier to pack into the UV as well, I think. So that's that one finished. I can actually just subdivide it twice and then lower it like that. So let's get to the second one. The second one is a more U-shaped version, so I will be able to actually get rid of this guy. And I will be able to, first of all, let's just get a nice shape going here. Let's put that panel back. There we go, poly's back. And it goes a bit like that, and more like that. A little bit of bend, but not too much. For this, I'm definitely going to want to do a bevel here so I can get that crisper edge. Yes. Yeah, that will do. That will do fine. Alright, so grab this guy and center freeze history and mirror. So am I doing it right? No, I'm not. Which axis is it? That one on the other direction. Swell. Let's just go on here, snap, snap. And yeah, that looks fine to me. Can probably do one more edge loop here. Let's see. Yeah, that looks about right. Cool. So let's just add another edge loop here to make the. Oh my god, I got ash on my keyboard. That's annoying. Okay. I kind of like it square. I'm just gonna leave these guys square. So that's my big U-shaped one. And I want to elongate this just a little bit more so it looks slightly different. That one's gonna be a shorter, kind of pointier one, and that's gonna be the longer, thicker one. I have also planned a serving knife, which are the ones over here. If I just zoom out, this guy. This is a medieval style serving knife. I don't know. I don't exactly know all that much about it, but I presume that this was kind of like a cleaver type sort of thing where they just chopped up big pieces of meat with, or cut, you know, whole chickens, whole pigs, whatever. So I do want to have a serving fork as well, and just a standard fork. So in 2 seconds, when I'm finished with my cigarette, I'm going to carry on. Instead of tea, I actually opted for some pear juice. It's quite nice. Alright. Let's see. I do want this to be a little bit thicker though. I feel like that's a bit too thin. So I'm gonna just grab these, bring them back around like that. And if I undo that, let's do that. And straighten these. Oops, that was a bad move. Select those. Oh, fuck this. I'm just gonna click select. No. Oh my god. Getting retarded. There. And maybe scale them just a little bit. Okay. That's fine. Might grab these a little bit and scale inward, like so. Okay, cool. So let's get these up to scale. The other ones. That's a fork. There. I feel like this could be a little bit smaller though. Thinner? Um, I kind of like that shape though. I don't want it to be too long. Yeah, that will do. This one is the bigger serving one. So what I'm gonna do is actually scale this a little bit. Come in just a little bit more. And grab these guys. Put on edge move. Oh, excuse me. Grab these guys and put them down a bit. Just smoother bend. Yeah, that's fine. Let's see if I can delete these and nah, that's too much. This I definitely wanna bring them back a little bit more. Although if it's a serving one, it should be relatively long, just for the look's sake. Something like that, and you just scale it up in. There. That will do for the fork. So got 2 forks done. Let's just do some basic aligning to the top and like that. And these should be now pretty much good to go. So let's get the low polys done. Let's just align them again. I get really anal about these, but it's nice to keep it organized because then I don't have to do any extra aligning when I'm getting them ready for the bakes. Okay, so that's 2 different pieces. And for this one, I actually want to smooth it one more time. Go back to some of these extra loops. These guys. This one and that one. Let's see how that does. Yep, that's that seems about right. It's not too bad. What I'm also gonna do is get rid of this one. Yeah, I can get away with that, and that one. Yep, that didn't really change the contour too much. I can also get rid of some of these. We're gonna get rid of that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one, that one, that one. All along these. Change the contour. I'm still good. I'm still good. See if I can delete those. No, that changed a little bit too much. I don't want to be messing around with that. Maybe do these guys. Yeah, that's minor enough for it not to annoy me. However, if I get rid of these, that's a big difference. So, well, not big difference, but a difference enough to notice. So I'm gonna keep it that way. Let's see, what are we at? 576 tries. That's actually a lot less than the spoons. That's good. This is gonna be even less. This is going to be. Can we keep this? No. Smooth it once. And let's see, we can get rid of that, that. These we can also get rid of. Do we need to get rid of that? I feel like that we can. Don't necessarily have to, but just for optimization's sake, it really doesn't matter. I'm gonna get rid of them just to keep it as low poly as possible, even though we're working with pretty high poly stuff here. What about these? Zoom out a little bit. Again, doesn't change too much. Gonna get rid of it. This is for low poly. What about this guy? That's too much. I do want that little curve there. Together, these are 1,000 triangles exactly. That's fine. 1,000 for 2 forks. That will be okay. So let's just get these here. Align to the top of the spoon. Align to the top of the spoon and subdivide the ever living fuck out of it. So 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn on wireframe. Yep, that's about the same density. So our forks are done. Let's do a save. And move on to the knives. The knives are going to be the more interesting ones to model because I do want to put a bit of ornate stuff into them. And also I will be using, instead of support edge loops, I will try to use creases inside Maya, which I have used before. I don't really like them, but that's necessarily because I'm more comfortable with just adding edge loops. However, for blades and that sort of stuff, I actually found creases to be pretty useful. So I will try to use them if I can. These forks are done. Let's go back to our references and just see comparatively. They seem a little bit thin still. I don't know. They still seem a little bit thin. Try something like that and then maybe if I just scale it in. These still seem a little bit too fragile. Especially for medieval stuff. I don't think that they would be able to craft something so fine. I'm sure they could, but if they were mass producing these forks for just the general populace, well, mass production in the medieval times, I feel like this would have been much more rougher. They wouldn't have been able to do something so pointed and fine and have it so perfect. It feels a little bit too... just feels a little bit too perfect for my liking. So I'm gonna try and scale them in. Yep, that's about right. Yeah, that'll do. That will do. Let's grab these. Bring them back just a little bit. Get that nicer U shape. And grab from here to there. And scale forward. Yeah, that will do. I'm getting too anal about it again. Do some alignment. Align these guys. And do our smooths. Smooth this one one more time. Ooh. Here and loops. Yeah, that's pretty good for a low poly. And let's just get rid of these things again. Doing a little bit of what I've done, but okay. Let's just compare these over here to our knife. Again, they will have to be scaled a little bit, but what I could do is I could just scale them individually. Let's try this. Yeah, they go that way. Something. Oh, oh, cancel, cancel, cancel. That spoon's still quite big for the fork, for the bowl. But as I said, we're gonna try and scale these bowls and stuff inside of Unity to the right size instead of Maya. I could update it straight in Maya, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make some prefabs inside of Unity, which is alright for me for personal use. But if I were to actually sell these on the marketplace, either Unity Store or UE4 Marketplace, I will probably come back into Maya and properly scale them, which would be... it looks a little bit too big, doesn't it? I have a feeling that it's the bowls which are too big, but... a little bit more. Just don't want too much scaling to happen because these forks are not combined yet. Okay, we need to combine. Might as well combine them now. Okay. Let's just compare it to that bowl. Okay. Still have a feeling that these spoons are a bit too thin. I probably will never be able to shake that feeling. Especially this one. This one's a little bit too thin. I have a feeling. But fuck it. It's fine. Let's just get onto the knives and we can tweak them later if we need to. So let's just duplicate these guys. Do some major alignment back into place now again. So that to that. Wait, what? Yeah, that to that. To that. It's just history. Subdivide the ever living fuck out of these guys. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Is that too much? Subdivide that too many times? Oh, it's about the same density. Yep, okay. So, knives. Let's make some space for the knives, because this is gonna have a couple of components. And to start off with, we're gonna start with the easier one. I think I would rather start with the serving knife. So for the serving knife, I'm actually gonna look up medieval serving knife. I had so many good references, it's crazy. Back when I was working on this asset pack for the first time, but I lost most of those, which really annoys me. What I'm gonna do, however, is grab some of these from the internet. Ooh, some of these knives are quite interesting, actually. I don't know if these are specifically the same time period that I was looking at, but definitely nice looking. I'm gonna try and look for 12th century, 12th or 13th century stuff. Let's try 14th century. I'm looking for some very specific pictures that I found, but I don't think I'll be able to find them fast enough. I did quite a bit of research. It took me a while to find those ones, but I think also these forks look a little bit too wide. They definitely look too wide. Okay, I'm just looking at forks now here, and I think I fucked it up. Yeah. And this one. Just close. That is much more like it. Even with these, and I'm gonna have to do all that work again because I'm stupid and I did not mention when I should have. Like that. This one. Definitely. Two. Not so much. What I can do is I can shrink it. Okay, they were quite sharp actually. They were very pointy. And I presume that would make sense, actually. They would be able to sharpen stuff quite well. So there we go, it's much sharper now. And same goes for this. I'm just going to sharpen it a little bit more. Okay, extreme, extend that. Bring it around. Go back. And point going on it. Well, let's just say that these are very worn. Let's just stick with that. Okay. Fork. Slow, sorry guys, you can't see what I'm looking at on my other screen. References, but I'm looking at some other forks, which were fairly pointy. Again, these are game props. I don't think that anybody's gonna be looking at references and then comparing them to, but I do want them to be at least somewhat realistic, or at least realistic looking. So yeah. Also, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a curve on this one. Can we? I think we can. This one maybe. Put a little bit of a curve on it. That's a bit too much, maybe. Let's get soft select in here. Yeah. Wow. It's too much. It's way too much. What can we do? What we can do is we can add maybe curve onto this one. That. These were quite long and pointy actually, so for the size of it, that one like that, but for this one, definitely extend it. Too much. Long and pointy. How long have we been going on for? Almost 2 hours! Wow, we've been modeling for 2 hours. It's not a lot. For 2 hours, we're still going a little bit slow, so I want to get off these forks as fast as possible. Because if I can, I will take a hour-long break, roughly about that. And in the next part of this, well, the next stream that I will be doing later on in the afternoon, we will be texturing these. I will leave the UVs out. I think that it would be good to stream UVs, but these are fairly simple to UV. I don't think that anybody would have major difficulty UVing these items. And if I do stream UVs, I want to do something more complicated so people can see how to tackle more, well, more complex objects. These are fairly simple. You just cut them in half and that's it. They're just unfold, it's done. Especially if you're using Maya 2018-2017 update 3 or 2. Those have been buffed majorly in terms of UVing and UV tools. And they're great. I actually enjoy them a lot. UVing in Maya now is a lot nicer to do than before. So, well, just UVing in general. So I think we're gonna move on from these forks. Let's go back, just check some basic stuff. Little fork. Some of these are wide, some of these are thin. I think a lot of this came down to the individual blacksmiths that made them. So I don't want to spend too much time on these anymore. Says me 100 millionth time and then goes back and starts editing them even further. So none of that. We're going to just call it a day. This one is very, very long. So this is super. Okay. Okay, that's it. Boom. Oh, doing all this again. For what, the third time now? Because I did not spend enough time at the beginning planning out and looking at references. I should have been looking at more references instead of my own shitty art. For reference. So let's move this guy. That's fine. Ollie. Get rid of those. How much were we able to get rid of? Yeah, that one's fine. This guy. All the way. We don't want them. These. I think we might as well. We might as well keep them. It doesn't really make a huge difference. Get rid of these guys. Those ones here that we didn't need. Did we? Oh yeah, we did not need them. These will help us to kind of get across how pointy they are. Yeah. That's fine. Looks like someone wants me to come and play Counter-Strike, but I am working right now. So unfortunately, I will have to decline this gentleman. I think I know who this is. Okay, let's just subdivide this for last time. Okay, let's press 1 on all of them. Center freeze history. These are all aligned, yes? Oh, what's happening here? Okay, it's doing the align bug again, so fine, separate transfer history. Now should be the aligned. What? Oh. Oh, okay. Oh no. Now it's only that one that's aligned. These need to. These aligned? Together? Yes, they are. Okay. Fine. I can't wait to get into scripting of Maya actually for my next year of college. It's going to be pretty interesting to solve a lot of these repetitive tasks. I do want to be able to create a script where I just create a cube and say that get all these objects and align them perfectly to it, which would be handy instead of doing it manually one by one. I'm sure there might be something out there already, but it would be a good learning curve anyway. Okay, that's all my forks done. Let's move on to the knives, finally. Jesus Christ. Let's look at, okay, let's start importing some of these reference pictures that I got off the net. These aren't the ones that I used originally. The original ones were, well, a lot better, to be honest. But I guess these will have to do. Yeah, we're starting with the serving knife, so let's do that. Rotate, JPEG. How big is the serving knife? Something like that. Make the handle a little bit bigger anyway, so yeah. I will not be copying these one for one, but it's good to get some sort of scale. So start with the basic cube. My good old-fashioned X-ray. Oops. Scale him in, bring him in. And I guess we're starting off with the handle then. So something like that, something like that. Actually gonna extend slightly. A much bigger handle. Yeah, it's fine. And for the end of it, I want to do something more interesting, so I'm going to cut this in half. And delete that half. in here. Oh, I didn't realize. Get out of here. Actually, we're gonna make you a reference layer. Selecting this piece of shit ever again. Oh. Where is that? What happened there? Oh. There. Here's there. Perfect. Now he's not gonna annoy us anymore. Huh. Do I even need to do this? I mean, what I want to do is kind of increase the size, bring it back, separate it out. So from the top view, it should look something like that. Let's add some loops, a bit of softness to it. Halfway in, just squeeze them out. Yep. So that's done. Turn it over. By the way, it is good practice usually. This is fairly basic stuff, but it is good practice to do half of an object first. If it's more complicated than this, then definitely do half of it first. And then come back, and if you need to tweak something, you can do that. But I much prefer that personally, as opposed to modeling on two different sides at the same time. Because sometimes you can get into serious problems and it's just a pain in the ass, and there's no point having that. So bring this handle and we're also going to start adding some loops, some support loops. This look like. Okay. See, stuff like this. Where I would actually prefer to work on half of it. Okay. Now we're gonna have to do some mirroring again. Ah, 3 people watching. Thank you, whoever you are. Means a lot. Mesh mirror. Mirroring again. Set axis plus. Yep, that's looking alright. I do wonder if we can actually just get rid of these together. What it looks like without it. Huh. I quite like that. Yes, I'm actually gonna stick with that. That's better than what I have done before. These, I don't know. I don't know how sharp I want them. Definitely not that sharp. Something like that for that one. Yeah, that should do it. For the top, hell of a lot sharper. Yep, that's good enough for a handle. I was thinking of doing the studs down along the length of it in Maya, but I don't think I need to. What I can do is just bring it into Painter, because that also gives me a chance to show some of the, well, height workflow. So I think I'm just gonna leave it at that. How is this? That's it's looking pretty good. Maybe just a pinch this gap just a little more. Killian. Ah, hi Killian. I was curious, I was doing some medieval century massage last week. What are you making these for? Oh, I'm making these at the moment for myself, for college work next year. If we end up making another game project, I'm interested in putting together a VR tavern brawl environment. Well, the game would be basically a VR tavern brawl where you can pick up all these objects and you can smash someone over the head. It's really fun, especially in VR, because you can pick up anything and manipulate it. So I'm making these so you can just grab them and throw them or smack someone with it. Other than that, I'm making these, well, firstly for fun, just because I really love medieval stuff, and thirdly for sale. I will probably put these up once it's complete, or in segments on UE4 Marketplace and Unity Asset Store. So hopefully I will be making. I'm gonna be selling them probably really cheap. So you know, just to make a bit of money on the side from 3D, that would be fun. But other than that, I'm just doing them because I enjoy doing medieval stuff. That's my bread and butter. I was actually really inspired by Kingdom Come Deliverance. I don't know if any of you guys have played the beta. I have, and it is fucking amazing. It is fantastic. I was blown away by the environments and just generally the art in it. The animation is a little bit goofy, but I think that's because this studio was basically built on Kickstarter money. It raised like over 2 million on Kickstarter, and they built the studio from that, and that studio includes their own mocap. So they do all their own mocap, and it's the first time. I mean, I'm sure that there's a lot of professionals in there who used mocap suspension like a lot before. They worked at Warhorse. But at the same time, setting it all up, you know, it's their first game. It's their first game from that studio anyway. So animation could definitely use a bit of tweaking, and it is being tweaked. Some of the stuff that you see on YouTube is either really old or it's still heavily in work. What genre is that? It's an RPG, actually. Kingdom Come Deliverance, if you just YouTube it, it is a realistic RPG. There's no dragons, there's no magic, there's none of that. The whole thing is based around the idea to be as realistic as possible. It's not a medieval simulator, but it is a medieval realistic game, especially the combat. The combat is really fun because it's well, I don't know if you've ever done any fencing. They actually researched into how medieval combat is done, and they try to resemble it as much as possible to the real thing, rather than, you know, animation of slice and then you just slice across a dude with full plate armor. Like, that's just not gonna do. What you want is a big fucking metal ball at the end of a stick and then smack that dude on the helmet as many times as possible until he gets a concussion from it. That's the most effective way to get rid of a knight. With a knife, I mean, or with a knife or sword or anything like that, you're not gonna do shit. You're just gonna have to keep whacking him. But it's fairly realistic, and I really like the environments as well, because the studio is very close to the location that they're recreating. What they're doing is actually going out and recreating the environment that is in real life. So the forests are exactly how the forests are in real life. Same with the villages. The villages have been recreated as they would have been like that at the time. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I actually am planning to send in my portfolio in third year and maybe even there to try and get a placement at Warhorse in third year. So if I can, that'd be sick. If I can't, then so be it. I'm just gonna have to keep on practicing and get better. I guess that's another reason why I'm doing medieval stuff as opposed to anything else, is because I wanna... When you're trying to get into a specific studio, you definitely wanna do stuff or show them stuff that they would be interested in. And then, since they're doing a medieval game at the moment, that's what I want to do. I want to do medieval stuff, and when they look at it, they're like, you know, these assets are good enough to be in our game, hopefully, or maybe. Then they will be more likely to actually hire, or get an internship or whatever it is, basically. So hopefully that will be helpful. If not, then it's, well, back to the drawing board. So the blade of this thing, that's pretty easy, I guess. Just oh, this is where I'm gonna start using creases, actually. Finding game intro is pretty tough, as I found out this year. When you're making props for a game, what's the usual poly count you'd go for? Ah, that's a tricky question, you see. Depends on the game. The poly count question, a lot of people say online, especially on poly count, ironically the name of the forum, to not stress too much about poly count. You should never put in unnecessary polygons. That's a good rule of thumb. But you can use as much as you want these days, really, as long as they, you know, affect the contour of it. Because most engines these days can handle a lot of polygons. Polygons is not exactly the polygons is not exactly the main drawback. It's usually textures and audio and that sort of stuff, and draw calls. There's a lot of objects, that means a lot of draw calls, and that's when games start being unoptimized. You can see that even in the file sizes in games. These days they're what, like 50-60 gigabytes for a big AAA game, and that is mostly not from the 3D models. That's usually to do with textures and audio files and that sort of stuff. So models are, in terms of computation, relatively cheap, but then again, that depends on the game, depends on the model that you're doing, it depends on a lot of things. So I'm not really answering that question right, but poly count depends. It's the best answer that I can give. Then game initiative, poly count you'd go for. Okay. Yeah, that's the best advice I can give. Just make sure that you don't have any unnecessary polygons in there. So if something, let me just give you a quick example here on this cube. So if I were to create a low poly mesh on this, here's my cube. So this is my high poly object. Obviously this can be as high poly as you want it to be. So this can be millions. If you're in ZBrush, it will end up actually being millions of polygons. But your low poly topology should be something that fits it well. So this just fits right over it. But edge loops like this, they don't change the contour of it, because they're just lying there. They don't really do much other than add extra geometry. What you can do with these is you can just delete it. I did it with some of the spoons. As you can see on this one, there were a couple of edge loops around here. So I had a couple of edge loops around there, but you're not ever going to be seeing the depth of those. So what I did is I actually got rid of the edge loop that was here, because the normal map will take care of that bowling, the concave surface of it. You don't actually, even with these, if I wanted to further optimize this spoon, for example, what I could do is actually grab maybe these, just merge them like that, and okay, that's maybe a little bit too extreme. But what I could do is I could start optimizing like that. Then go around, just try and get rid of as many vertices as possible. Then just like that. Oops. See, I'm crunching the vertice count slowly and slowly and slowly, while I'm still trying to get as much of the surface definition down as possible. So I'm not changing the surface too much, or as little as possible at least, but I'm crunching the vertex count. But that's how I would optimize. But then again, I don't really need to do that, because modern engines can handle that poly count fine. These spoons are about 1,000, which I think is fine, personally. So, I hope that answered your question. I probably did a butcher job on it, but that's the best answer I can give. So, what I'm gonna try and do here with this blade actually is try and use the crease method. And creasing can be really helpful sometimes as opposed to edge loops, because creasing stays relatively stable when you're subdividing something. Let me just see on this reference here. And there we have as well. True. Just a little, so it's sharp on the. Let's do about 3. What throws me out when I look at age? Well, that's assets that are. Sorry, I'm mumbling. What throws me. Killian just said, what throws me off is sometimes when I look at AAA games and I see assets that are just hexagons or drinking glasses in Andromeda, which are just obviously squares. Okay, so the thing is that again depends on the game. Andromeda is an open world game. There's a lot of models, and when you're dealing with external environments like that or internal environments like that where even the walls are gonna have quite high poly count, small objects you can't really spend too much polys on. And another big thing, this is actually leading back to your first question, that's why I wasn't answering this properly, I just remembered, is depends on the game in terms of how far are you gonna see it. If I go back to, don't really need to go back to, but Andromeda is a third-person shooting game. So yes, you can rotate the camera around so you get really close to a glass or cup or something, and you know you're looking at it right up, and you can see how low resolution the texture is, or you can see how low poly count it is. But when you zoom out, it looks fine. It would be nicer, obviously, if it was higher poly count, but it doesn't need it. When you're just running around in an environment, you don't really notice those things. And that's kind of the whole point of optimization, wherever you can get away with less. And in a first-person shooter, there's usually a lot of optimization because you see a lot more. There's a lot more to be rendered because your camera is set way back instead of a first-person view where you're focusing on a specific, you know, spot of the area. In third-person games, the camera is way back, so it renders way more of the environment, and that's way more polygons to render. And if you're further away from it as well, it doesn't need it because your brain will fool you into thinking that that's a round shape. Especially with good textures and good normals. Normals will bring you a long way if you're doing them right. You don't actually need that high of a poly count if you do your normals well. Like here, actually, I could easily get away with this. This looks smooth enough. Obviously, I'm gonna try and smooth it one more time just to get a bit more out of it. But this on the blade is more than enough to make it look smooth. Once you go back, that looks perfectly round around the edges. Even with some of these spoons. This spoon looks fine. You could get away with this very simply. Obviously my shading is fucked up at the moment, but if I soften it there, you see it's not too bad. It's kind of low poly, but it's not that bad. And when you're looking at it from even further away, if you're just looking at it on the table like that, you wouldn't notice it. You obviously wouldn't notice it. It's just because when you're modeling, you're right up against something, so you're looking for imperfections and you're looking for that right look. You're just not gonna get that in a game. This is what you're gonna see in a game. It's just gonna be a spoon, and your brain will be like, yeah, that looks kind of like a spoon, especially when there's textures on it. It's easy to find flaws in something when you're looking at it on a white mat or just a flat material, but with textures your eye focuses way more on the little scratches or metal bits or whatever than any specific bends or whatever, unless there is a major error in the model, in which case, well, then it's kind of fucked. Alright, so just to get back, hope I answered your question properly. Anyway, to get back to this blade, I'm just gonna squeeze it down a little bit. How thin do I want this to be? Again, this would be very helpful to have it in VR, because then I could actually put it in front of me and I'd be like, that blade is too thin or too thick. But right now I'm just gonna have to rough guess. Since they were grinding these all the time, they were sharpening and sharpening again, I'm just gonna guess that these blades were fairly thick. Also, their metals weren't exactly all that super hard, so if it was too thin, I think they would have been very bendy and flimsy. Just back a bit. Okay. Looks about right. This definitely. I could do something interesting with this. What I could do is I could try and give it a point like that. That could be interesting. I'm tempted. I'm tempted. I think I might actually. I think I will. Yes, yes I will. I like that. Yes, that's pretty good. Okay, so back, soften this out, and this is where my creases will come in. Because this is my soft preview, actually. In fact, I'm just gonna come back here. And oh, another thing about optimization is any faces that are hidden, delete them. You don't need them. If the player doesn't see them, they're not needed to be there. On a low poly, obviously. On a high poly, you might as well keep them in because sometimes they can mess up the topology. But with stuff like this, these faces are hidden inside the, well, the handle. So they're never going to be seen. There's no point putting an edge loop here and then straightening it out, because you're just adding more polygons to something that is never going to be seen. So what you can do is just delete them. And I know you have a hole in your mesh, but it's fine. It's fine. Nobody's ever going to see that hole. So let's try that creasing method. So what I'm going to do is just select all these edges that I want to crease. And if I come down here, I can crease by almost full. Actually, I'm just going to crease by full, because then I can keep all of my shit consistent. So I'm going to fully crease this. Should I make this a little bit thinner? Can't decide whether or not this looks too thin. Harden the edge. Do shit. Soften it back. Can't decide. Is this too thin? And secondly, what's with that bending? I see a little bit of bending. Which looks fine. It's weird. Anyway, I don't want to be spending way too much. It's already been going on for like 2.5 hours, and I want to finish up these cutlery pieces. I've got 2 more knives to go, and those are the more difficult ones. So let's just get this one out of the way. Alright, so that's the... So let's make our smooth. And the smooth version, actually, I think I'm just gonna go with this. I don't even need this. I can just get rid of that crease altogether. That's enough. And here's an optimization. You can also kite stuff off. So what I did here is I added an edge loop and just merge these. And if you come around, you can turn them into one. Because I don't need all those lines. They don't really do much. All I need those lines for is the definition along the point here. So I can come around and just delete. And boom. That's a lot less polygons there now. I could even try and smooth it once. I'm just gonna keep my own principle in mind. I don't really need this to be any more optimized. I think that's fine. Triangles there. Yes, Camilla. It is fine for triangles to be there, because these triangles are completely flat. So if I just select these and I go into that and Control 1, you can see that they are absolutely flat. That will give you no shading issues at all when you're texturing it. What sometimes does happen, however, is when they are moved out of position like that, or if you were to have them something like that, then you might start having some serious triangle issues, especially around here. This is kind of fucked. Richard has made me paranoid about anything not quad. Why not just delete the middle line? Well, you see, if you were to delete the middle line, you would also get rid of that. And you do want that because you want that point on your low poly. I'm not sure if I get what you mean by middle line. In fact, actually, if I want to super optimize, I could even just do this. I could just do that. That's a completely flat surface there. So this here, all these triangles, they're fine. Oh, okay. I get what you mean by middle line. Okay. Are you talking about these? Yes, yeah, you're probably talking about these. Yeah, you can do that. That's perfectly fine. They turn into quads. But when you triangulate, when the engine triangulates your mesh, what's going to happen is, where is my triangulate? Boom. See? They just reappear. It doesn't really make that much of a difference because when you put the game asset into the engine, it will be triangulated anyway. And these things will appear regardless. So just for modeling's sake, I like keeping them in there because I know how to, like, I can go back and, you know, easier control these vertices rather than having them as quads. It depends. It depends on the model a lot. That it would be perfectly fine if you deleted these lines, and it's perfectly fine if you leave these triangles in, as long as it's a flat surface. So let's move on to the next knife because I'm just getting too hung up on this. Oh, and no, we still need to make the smooth version of this. Coming back to that again, you can delete these. Don't need these. These are supporting edge loops for the high poly. What I will do, however, is add a small bevel on these guys, just to kind of soften those edges. And I could do on this one as well with a bevel. How soft do I want this? That depends on how soft this thing is. So if I come back here, duplicate it over, mush it on. Okay. So that's a funny thing, I'm actually gonna have to... Oh, I forgot! I will have to subdivide the handle. I'm stupid. I did model the back of it so that I have to subdivide it. So that's fine, I can just come in here, subdivide it once, then delete some of these edge loops that I don't. Leaving that. Yep, don't need that, don't need that. Or that. That one can go. That one can go. That one can go. Can it? Yeah, it can go. All these along the handle because they don't really add shit to it. These are important. These are all important. This is kind of important, but you can also get away with it not being there. So there we go. That's fine. How big is this? 560. That's perfectly fine. So let's come back and duplicate our creased version. So what we can do is just smooth this now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, please don't crash. Quickly save. Either considered is either considered best practice or is either fine. Best practice is to try and have everything in quads as much as possible, but if you're leaving triangles in, that's also fine. Best practice is the practice that gets you a clean model. Whatever method that you're using gets you a good quality, clean topology model that doesn't have shading errors and UVs easily. Sometimes deleting those lines can actually hinder you because they will make the UVing harder to do, because you're gonna have to go around it. There's gonna be no line, there's gonna be no edge that you can select to cut your UV seams along, so you can end up with looking really funky UVs, and those can give you a headache because then you have to go and add them again. But again, that's fine. Quads are good, triangles are okay, and n-gons. This is the funniest thing in the world. I actually recently saw an artist working, well, not recently, but a while ago. I saw an artist working on high poly weapon models, so it's all hard surface modeling using n-gons. And it's fine. Though the method that he used was actually really cool, because he used n-gons on a lot of surfaces where, again, they were flat, or it just made sense because it, like, once that surface gets subdivided, it just kind of randomly smooths it off. It divides up perfectly fine, and as long as there's no deformations, you can model with n-gons. Like, it doesn't really matter. Whatever gets you to the end goal with a clean mesh is the way to go. There is no hard rule to say, basically. Alright, let's see if this crease method works. So what I'm gonna use now is I creased all these edges here. You can see that they're a lot thicker. So I'm just gonna smooth it once, still there. I'm gonna smooth it twice, still there. Then I'm gonna try and get rid of them. Okay, maybe not that much. I'm gonna smooth it one more time, then get rid of them. Okay, it's starting to... It's kind of supporting itself. Just gonna add one edge loop to kind of support it, and it's looking pretty good. That's not too bad, but I want that nice crispness, so I'm gonna smooth it one more time, and that's pretty fucking dense here, but it's fine. If I turn on my anti-aliasing and thing, that's looking pretty good. That's fine. Okay, so the creases worked quite well, and at least I didn't have to do a bunch of edge loops. I could just use this version for creases, and I didn't have to add a bunch of edge loops. This is an easy blade. When you get to something like an M9 bayonet or a sword with the little chunks taken out in the middle, or with saw blades on some of them. I don't know if you ever played CSGO, but some of those blades are pretty complicated. It's not just one plane. Creases can be really helpful with those, because then you don't have to, when you add so many edge loops, it can get pretty crazy soon. So yeah, alright, let's move on to the last two knives. I'm yabbering on way too much, and I also need to speed up this shit because it's getting pretty boring just looking at this one knife all the time. Next two. Let's get some more references in here. Please on break. Okay. Let's see. Where'd we go? Oh, there. Let's just scale it up. Again, this is where realism and gaminess will have to collide with each other a little bit. I want these knives to be fairly big. They may not look the most realistic, but when you're gonna be in the game and actually stabbing people, cool tanks weird better be with the price of them. yeah, basically. So I want these knives to be pretty big. When the player picks them up, I want him to be able to, you know, feel like he's not trying to stab someone with a toothpick. So a big old knife will help that good meaty feel in the game. I'm just gonna create another reference there. And I'm also gonna go to the jacks. So I'll be back with a cigarette after a toilet break. Okay, so I'm back. Where are we now? Okay, so these last two knives. I am tempted to create a special knife as well as one of these. Which would be something on the lines of carved knife. Again, I wish I could have saved all of those cool reference pictures that I had, but I lost them, so something like this would be interesting to do. I wonder if people would be interested in creating a low poly mesh in Maya and then bring it into ZBrush and actually sculpting up a knife handle like that. That could be pretty interesting. But if something special like that, I also don't want to be lumping it together with little small props like those plates and knives. So I might do a separate item altogether for it, kind of like a special item, which will have its own texture map. And that also gives me a bit of creative freedom to go bigger with a big old carved beautiful knife. That's a special weapon. You can find this somewhere on a under a throne or under a table or something. That'd be pretty cool. Some of these look quite nice. I'd love to sculpt something like that. In fact, actually, something like that is very easy to do in Painter. All these carvings, you don't actually have to sculpt it. You can fake it inside Substance Painter with height maps. And if you want to be really fancy, you could just draw out the height map manually in Photoshop and then apply it in Painter. But yeah, I'm kind of having a little bit of an internal debate here whether or not to, especially with the bone. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick with these, and instead of having just a simple boring bone handle to it, I might have some carvings in it instead. That might be more interesting. So yeah, alright, let's dig into it. It's gonna be hard to model with one hand. Probably gonna ash on my keyboard again. But let's start with the handle. For these, I think I'm gonna start with a tube or cylinder, and I'm gonna reduce that to 8. Hold J and rotate. Scale it up, scale it down, scale it along. Let's start matching it to some sort of reference so I don't have some weird scalings. Something like that. Yeah, that will do. Maybe scale a little bit. That's a bit long. I will try to add a stud at the end of this one as well, so this one doesn't need to be that long. It's gonna be the long and thin knife. It's kind of like a stabby weapon. So what I want to do though is come back here and flatten it just a little bit because it's too circular. Anyone carving this would have had to have a long time carving it to get it to a perfectly round shape. I don't think they would have bothered really if they're making 10 or 15 of these a week. So yeah, a bit too much. Something like that. Yeah, that will do. Again, we could just add some loops. With this one, I'm also going to grab the ends of it. And I'm going to scale and extrude inward. So get a kind of a crisper edge. Maybe a little bit more. A little bit smoother. Yeah. Something like that. The blade. Start off with a square, I think. Just align it perfectly. I just aligned this perfectly manually? That can't be true. Not true. Okay. Let's bring this down. Bring this over. I want this quite long. I want a nice long stabby knife. Some in. Some loop. This one definitely. That. 2 more minutes. I'm just gonna finish this fight. Alright. Let's try and adhere to as much as possible as with this. Bring it out. And bring this. Something like that. And add a point to it. I always get confused with knives. I don't know if I want it to be. Yeah, that's fine. It's fine there, I think. See, I hate doing knives, blades like this. It's fine. Let's add a loop just to blade in sharpness. How much sharpness do we question? How do we want to terminate? That's a good question. I'm gonna try and just use a soft select. Squeeze that way. And for the point of it, I'm gonna try squeeze. Bad idea. Okay. Alright, so this is one of those situations. No, actually, I would not. Let's see. Okay. Looks okay to me. Can actually delete that. Yeah, we can delete. And also this. Yes, we can delete that. So, oh no, we cannot delete that. That's the middle one. That's okay. Let's just come back here and these two. So if I come back to my reference, it's a little bit more squared off around here, so I can come back here and I can try to terminate this like that. Yeah, that's fine. And here I'm gonna use an edge loop. Will I? Yes, I am gonna use an edge loop. But for the blade itself, I'm actually gonna use the sharp areas. I'm gonna use some creases. So that's looking alright. It's pretty pointy, pretty sharp. Let's just hide that stuff. Let's get a little bit up. Set it. I just actually combine these for the time being. Scale it. Let's refer to the rest of them. It's fine. Okay, let's start doing some of the decorations. What we can do is we can just scale this in, scale it in like that. That's okay. It's to be well into in work. I don't want to increase the length of the blade. What I want to do is just hide it completely inside it, so if it doesn't crash, thank you. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to this one sticks inside. If I come back to my reference, this is a little bump here. This is a little bit like that. Yeah, that should do it. For these guys, I'm actually gonna just select top and bottom. Nope, that's too much. Nope. It's that. Goes to it and bring it out just a little bit. Wider? Should that handle not be a little bit wider? Maybe. Maybe. Let's see. Yeah, actually, a little bit of width Yeah, that was a good comment there, Camille. Actually, that handle does look like it needs to be a little bit wider, and maybe a little bit fatter as well. Something like that. So that should do it. And for the back of it, actually gonna bring these out a little bit. Bring this, no. Add one here, middle, then bring it out. Some, instead actually to have them uniform, I'm just gonna instead. It's nicer, it's a bit smoother as well. Don't get really like mechanical looking edges, which is something you definitely don't want to have when you're doing something that was manually carved and sanded and worn just through use. So like all those little really sharp edges would be filled with grease, gunk, and dirt, and generally grime. So you don't want really crisp edges. Yeah, let's see that. Actually gonna bevel this once. Yeah, again, the tip of it would be worn off, so let's get that in. And in fact, what I'm gonna also do is I'm gonna add a bit of a carving here. Just gonna see what it looks like. How does this look? Too much. It is too much. Instead of the inward one, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave it at that. And maybe these a little bit like that. Do a bevel. So yeah, and if I come in here more, just kind of extrude it like. This is the fancier knife, so it's fine if it's like this. I actually don't like it. I just rather not. Adds more polys, kind of pointless. I can add that sort of detail with textures if I really so desire. There's no point adding more complexity where it doesn't need to be. It's already pretty decorated in terms of carving. Somebody would have had to actually make this. It's smooth. That seems about. Don't want really tiny detail. Yeah, okay, so then the stud at the end, we're gonna be working on this part here, basically. Here we can do that. We can get rid of these middle pieces, actually. That will definitely help with pinching and all that sort of stuff, big time. And here too, actually here, it's gonna help us a lot with pinching, especially if we get rid of these guys here on the side. These guys will help us, yeah, it's a lot smoother now. And if we subdivide, they will still be quads. So that's gonna be great for when we're actually working with the model painter. Let's do the stud. I'm just gonna start with a square. It's all these squares. Oh yeah, the example that I was bring him here. Oh, it's in the same thing. see. That. Or these. Bring them in. We're starting to get there. We're starting to get there. This might need an extrusion, though. Like that. Yep, that's fine. Just for cleanness sake. Side. And bevel these guys. Actually, let's bevel them by one. Sometimes when you bevel too many things at once, it tries to take the average, and it doesn't necessarily work out for the best. So it is good to bevel one by one every once in a while and see if you get different results. I'm gonna also add one in the center and just kind of squeeze it out. Yep, that's fine. Just gonna grab this and give it a little point. And now we can just squeeze these in. See what that smooth looks like. Yep, that will be just fine when we smooth it for the low poly. So let's scale it, put it back into the make it a little bit. Okay, so that's knife number 2, I think, pretty much finished. There isn't a whole lot more that I want to do. The rest of it I think I will take care of inside Substance Painter when I'm actually texturing. Let's come back here and just kind of the blade area where it's gonna be sharp. No, they do not. What I'm using the smooth preview for is basically an approximation of what my high poly sculpt will be, because the workflow that I'm using is I'm going to be baking the high poly surface from the I'm going to be baking normals, curvature, all that sort of stuff in Substance Painter from the high poly like this onto the low poly. But for the high poly to, well, look like this, basically, I have to use a smooth preview. So when I smooth this guy is gonna look like this guy, and you just keep subdividing it. That's what smooth preview does. It basically shows you what it's gonna look like once it's been smoothed out, well, slash subdivided, whatever you want to use. So what I'm doing now is I'm seeing what my high poly will look like right now. So when I duplicate it over, I'm just gonna subdivide the ever-living fuck out of it, and I will have that smooth mesh to bake from onto my low poly, which isn't going to be half as smooth. As you can see on this one, let's say the fork, this is very low poly. But what I'm doing here is I'm just modeling a smooth preview, because then I can duplicate it over and smooth it once, so I get a much better smoother version. But this is still fairly low poly. Again, I crunched this a little bit, so you can see I deleted a few lines, and then just basically using that the other one as a high poly mesh. So that's pretty much finished. I'm a little bit worried about scaling, especially to like these fucking pots and pans and shit. That's a pot. That's a jug. That's a big fucking knife compared to that jug. Those jugs are supposed to be relatively big. I think all of my cutlery is gonna have to be just scaled a little bit. Oh, whoa, this knife is quite big. Never mind. So I'm just gonna combine it, delete freeze history, and just scale it in a little bit, just to make it more accessible. I still don't want this to be too tiny. I don't want this to be a toothpick. But I think that will be fine. See it compared to like a bowl or something. See, these are big serving plates that I was thinking of making. So again, these are fairly out of scale, but scaling is, I think, the least of my worries at the moment. It looks like a normal sized plate compared to this knife now. Especially these bowls look tiny. Especially these cooking pots, holy shit. These are meant to be like actual cooking pots. They're not meant to be like this at all. So I think I'm gonna scale down all of my cutlery at the end. Once I have it all finished, I'm just gonna worry about that. Compared to the knife. Yeah. Maybe a little bit up. Yeah. It's fine. Actually bring this over a little bit. No, I actually like it with the wider handle. Especially hands in VR are quite big, so all else fails I can extend it. Yeah, fuck it. This is good enough. Again, I'm just getting stuck. I'm so bad for getting too finicky about something and then just tweaking little tiny minuscule things for like 2 hours. I have done that before, where I spent 3 or 4 hours just editing something. It was a bit more complicated, but just went around and fucked around with stuff for ages, and it barely looked any different, so it was kind of pointless. All right, so let's smooth this. I'm gonna break it up again, actually. And this blade, I only smooth it once, I think. Get rid of these creased edges. Go back to crease tool, just it's a little bit jagged here, so I think I'm gonna just add. I can't. take an average. Yeah, that's fine. I'm a bit worried about shading on this tip here. I don't want any shading errors, but I mean, what can you do? Let me see. Can I straighten up? Fuck. Yep, basically, stay up until 6 in the morning, just tweaking shit that you should just pass up and have it ready, sent, done. Just gonna go back. Low poly, this does need a little bit of time, however. I'm just gonna put on surface and do this. Okay, that's fine. That's looking alright. I can actually get rid of this altogether. I'm on the other side. I don't need that. It's flat. Yes, I can do it with that too. I don't actually need those. That still looks okay. Maybe I need to bevel this. Be nice. I don't need these either. Absolutely pointless. Go back to the move tool, put on edge, straighten that a little bit. Straighten actually. Snap. Straighten these, snap them back. Let me just take it off. It's fine. It's fine. Could go back and tweak it even more, but I think okay. Yeah, that's as good as it will get. I don't think I'm gonna get any more of that straightness out of it. Get rid of these useless edge loops. Some cleaning up. This one useless? No, it is not. It terminates. What I could do here is even just snap this to that. Again, this is I think this is just gonna give me headaches later. Yeah, this is just gonna give me headaches later. This is gonna be harder to UV. Fuck this. Leave it like that. Smooth this guy once. That's all I need. And come back and delete a lot of these pointless loops. That one's totally pointless. That one is pointless. That one not so much. That one is. I could probably get away with these as well. Yeah, don't really need that actually. Let's see if I can get away with. Yeah, I can delete those and just pull the edge down. It's fine. All of these can go. These. This guy, no, this good. Not this guy. No. Want him. Actually want most of these, except for this guy. Unless, no, this guy's don't. Yep, I can go too. This guy can go too. I'm really anal about this. I don't think I need to. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna actually just ever so slightly bring this in. Yeah, it's fine. It's just okay. About these guys. Does give me triangles? Probably. Yeah, it's fine. Smooth this guy. Do need almost all of that geometry, so just gonna set up my hardened edges. So harden this. Harden. Actually, I don't want to harden that. Harden these though. Okay. Soften up. Soften. Get him over and let's just do the subdivide. Break him up. 1. Yes, it is a little bit decorated, but that's the more decorated version. There is going to be a more simpler knife. I'm gonna be working on this one as well, which I'm probably not even gonna have the little stud at the back. But you have to remember that most of these knives were made by craftsmen. So yes, they would have been fairly simple because they weren't made for lords or anything like that. But they were still made by people who wanted to show that they're good carpenters or good blacksmiths or whatever it was your craft. These were talented craftsmen, and they wanted to have their own insignia on stuff. They still wanted to show that their skills are there, and you should be buying their knives instead of the village next. You see, a lot of these blacksmiths were in competition with each other. They wanted to be the best blacksmith in the realm, so to say. Basically, like almost all games, you can hear the blacksmith going like, "Oh, I'm the best blacksmith in this entire world." I want to keep that in mind when I'm modeling. It's just to have a little bit of personal touch, not necessarily too much, but just that extra bit. What's happening here? Do I need to subdivide it time? And one more. Wow, that is a very high poly knife. That is very sharp there around that corner. So what we're gonna have to do is go back to one subdivision back. There we go. Now, is this where I took it off? No, I think this is the step before I took it off. Okay, that's a lot better, although I don't know by how much. I'm gonna do is I'm going to grab this, 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 this here, and select up to, oh shit. Oh, what? Okay, never mind, I'll just have to do it manually. Something... Just press smooth select. Not even. Okay. Select that guy. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. Oh shit. Okay, I'm gonna have to do these individually. I'm not gonna be able to get away with it. What the fuck is happening here? There. Go there. Oh, select that. Mint, please. There. And there. Whoa. There we go. Okay. From here to there. The bottom from here to there. Are we on the same level? Yes, we are. Push that in a little bit. If we catch a smooth preview now, it's better. Big fucking stepping going on here, which I really don't like. This is quiet, tedious mode. Sorry guys, haven't got much interesting stuff to say. Just moving some vertices around. And now it should look better. It's not super duper sharp, at least anymore, which is fine. That's it's gonna do this one and this one. However, what we're gonna do is, because it comes all the way back here, fuck. Huh. Wonder if we just delete some of these. Ah, we have done it with this one. I mean, I guess we could have, but we don't want to, because we want to keep the sharpness on this edge here. Where does this go? Does it go there? God, it's stretching to fuck. It's always nice. It's fine. It's fine. We're gonna smooth it again. And I want this point. Keep this point. No. Come on. Wow, this is finicky. Oh, fuck this. Slice it. Move along. Yeah, that's that will do. That's fine. Nobody ever is going to know. It's only a model anyway. I do wonder, what can I do here? What's up? Let's see. Again, getting super anal about it like this won't really help it all that much. Let's just straighten these and it's good. I'm to get really hungry, so really concentrate. Could even do here is get Alright, there we go. It's finished. God, only took me fucking 20 minutes almost. This one, smooth at 3. Four. Oh boy. Leading those ones really did not help the situation at the... Hoi hoi hoi. I'm actually gonna just redo this. Fuck shit. Oh. This is when tiredness starting to set in. Well, fatigue. Hi guys. We've been going on for like 3 hours and 40 minutes. I'm actually like starting to wander off in my thoughts. I think I'm gonna finish the last knife on my own, and I might be back on later tonight with another stream. And in that stream, we're gonna be texturing these assets inside Substance Painter. I'm gonna take you through the whole baking process, and I'm gonna be also showing you guys how to make your own custom materials, smart materials, using those bakes. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and thank you for actually coming by on my first stream. It's a bit stressful, and I don't really know what to talk about, so there's a long, awkward pauses and silences in there, and me just talking absolute shit, just to keep it going. And yeah, there was a lot of that, wasn't there? There was a lot of ums and a lot of ums, and me just trying to figure out what to say. I'll try and work on that. Hopefully the presentation will get better and better, but I think for this time, that's gonna be it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.